very clear tonight that Tuesday night was a scary one for the White House and Trump's economic team when the U.S. bond market began crashing. The U.S. carries a lot of its debt in bonds purchased by investors as a safe haven for money, offering a very reliable, conservative annual yield. And those yields began rising fast Tuesday night as bonds were being dumped. The 10-year yield approached 5% at one point. The White House fearing an economic meltdown Wednesday morning. Trump and Scott Bessent, the Treasury Secretary, called an audible, a tariff pause for all countries except China, which calmed fears and gave us the largest Dow increase in history, 3,000 points yesterday, right? It appears some of our salty trade partners figured out a way to get the White House's attention by dumping these U.S. bonds. That's what's being indicated tonight, and it is an indication of just how difficult and risky it is to reimagine international trade agreements. We've been saying this all along. What Trump is doing right now takes some serious stones. This is a political liability he did not need, but he wanted to do it because he thinks it's the right thing for the country. Nobody else in Washington would ever do this. Nobody in Washington takes a political risk to do the right thing, ever. They only care about their career, especially those who've been talking about issues like this and using them to get elected for the last 30 years. They're never going to do anything about it, like these people.
Only have our trade agreements cost us millions of decent-paying jobs, but they have depressed wages in this country.
I and others have concerns about China's use of economic coercive tools.
How big a trade deficit and loss of jobs for the American worker has to exist before members of this House of Representatives will say, I will not endorse the status quo.
China has been taking advantage of us for two decades. They're stealing our intellectual property, which means stealing our good-paying jobs.
How many elections did they get based off of that rhetoric? And they never did a damn thing. Talk, talk, talk. All they do is talk. Does anything ever actually get done in Washington? Of course not. Why? Because it's really hard, as we're seeing this week. Nations that benefit from badly negotiated trade deals have absolutely no interest whatsoever in making those deals fair. Chuck Schumer has zero interest in actually forcing them to do what we all know is right. He doesn't care, preferring to just use these issues, talk about them all the time, gin up the base, stay in power, keep getting rich. That's the plan of most people inside the Beltway. Even better, we now have Chuck Schumer mocking Donald Trump and the White House as they struggle to do this very difficult work, trying to do the right thing, the work that he's been talking about for years.
You think it's a game. You think it's like red light, green light. It's not, it's chaos. And the damage you have done already, despite today's announcement, is permanent and real and deep. You're throwing our whole economy out of kilter. You're telling business people and consumers to not spend because they don't know what the heck is coming out next. What you're doing, Donald Trump, is hurting the American people as you play games.
No, what he's doing is all the things you promised you would do for 30 years, but we're never going to do. And now you're making fun of him because it's not easy to do. That's what you get for trying to do the right thing in Washington. Some little worm that's been sitting in D.C. getting rich for 1,000 years, hunched over in a chair, hammering you for trying to fix all the things that he broke. Their latest grift is alleging insider trading this week. Early Wednesday morning, as we said, the bonds, the yields were rising. The bond market was in a free fall. The president told Americans now is a great time to buy. He was trying to save an economy that was really close. And here's how the other side is spinning that move.
Americans need to know whether President Trump or anyone in his administration manipulated the market.
Would I be surprised if there were people who hours before knew exactly what Trump was going to do in rescinding his tariff proposals? Would I be shocked if we learned about that in the days to come? No, I would not.
I'm writing to the White House to demand who knew in advance that the president was going to once again flip-flop on tariffs, and are people cashing in?
If people are pissed about insider trading here at the House, look at what's happening at the White House.
How many billions at this point have Trump and Elon both lost in their bid to save the country? How much money have they just lit on fire as they try and do what they're trying to do? And the only thing we ever hear is this nonsense. Democrats deserve their abysmal approval rating. Who could ever approve of such a stupid political party? Dems are desperately focus grouping ways to complain about what Trump is doing, Trump doing the things that they've promised to do for years. Janet Yellen, the most incompetent person to ever run the Fed and the Treasury, with more harsh words for the president.
We had a very well-functioning economy, and President Trump has taken a wrecking ball to it. This is the worst self-inflicted wound that I have ever seen an administration impose on a well-functioning economy.
If she doesn't like it, it's probably a good thing. That's the woman who told us that we could print and just hand out trillions of dollars during COVID and inflation was not going to be a problem at all. I mean, it like missing a parade going through your living room is how she somehow missed inflation. There are 10-year-olds with better economic prowess. Yesterday, Gretchen Whitmer found herself in the Oval Office. The Michigan governor has been one of very few brave enough people to somewhat endorse what the president is doing right now. Take a listen.
I understand the motivation behind the tariffs. And I can tell you, here's where President Trump and I do agree. We do need to make more stuff in America. More cars and chips. More steel and ships. We do need fair trade. So while I share the president's goal of bringing good-paying middle-class manufacturing jobs back, it's got to be done right.
Got to be done right. Oh. Can't give a full-throated endorsement of this. Of course, that's not allowed by the party. Today, stocks did fall, but so did the bond yields, which should calm some nerves. The economic team today hinting at some serious progress being made on these trade deals.
I'm not sure we could ever have enough time in the day to talk to all these countries because they want to talk and they want to talk now. And they have come with offers that they never, ever, ever would have come with, but for the moves that the president has made, demanding that people treat the United States with respect.
We're doing again what we should have done many years ago. We let it get out of control, and we allowed some countries to get very big and very rich at our expense, and can't let that happen.
On top of that, there is some tremendous economic data coming out. Consumer prices actually fell last month. Inflation lowering so much that we're actually seeing a brief moment of month-to-month deflation. That's rare. Annual inflation now at 2.4% in March. So the magic number is 2, right? Getting very, very close, very, very fast. Went from 2.8, I think, February to 2.4 in March. It's moving down, and it's moving down quickly. Gas prices are falling because oil prices are falling. Oil's about $60 right now. It dipped into the upper 50s. That's pretty cheap oil these days. Affordability is returning, a much stronger economy, certainly than China has right now, which today was blasted in the Wall Street Journal, finding secret meetings where communist officials admitted that they were behind infrastructure attacks that we've been seeing here in the United States. They're attacking our infrastructure. Is China an adversary, or is China an enemy at this point? Kevin O'Leary now calling for 1,000% tariffs if that's what it takes.
I don't care if it's 1,000% tariffs. They have to come to the table now and not just settle this trade war. They need to settle all of this unbalanced situation. I don't care about the volatility. I don't care if Trump ratchets it up 25% a day.
You know, everybody's reporting the same stories, the same spin. You turn the channel, it's always the same. But not us. We're different. We report the real news. No spin, just the facts. Turn to us, and you won't turn back.
Tune in to Rob Schmitt Tonight on Newsmax.